Hello everyone and welcome to KWT's Microsoft Outlook Mail Merge module. The Mail Merge feature within Outlook is a great way to generate labels, envelopes, form letters, anything like that where the standard content is going to be the same, but you want to customize it for selected contacts out of your contact list. So in general, it allows you to create form letters that are customized by individual information that has been stored previously in your contact list. And you're not restricted to the standard fields of email and phone numbers and so on. You can also start creating user fields within your contacts for specific information that you want to include in these form letters that you want to generate. The results of a mail merge can be saved as documents for future use so that you can edit them individually after you've created the overall content, or you could send them directly to a printer to be folded up and put in envelopes and mailed out, or you can send them to email so that you can actually use this to generate sort of form emails that you want to send out to individuals, but you do want to customize it with users' names and email and addresses, phone numbers, whatever pieces of information that can be stored in contacts you can include in these documents as you present them. So the way you do this is you select the contacts that you want to include, and this can be as many as you like, and then you jump to the mail merge. Now that opens Word. All of the mail merge setup occurs within Word, and then you build up your document using all the regular Word features, but in addition you have the ability to add these details from your contact fields, and you get a chance to preview the results for all of the selected recipients, which is a really handy way to go because it shows you where information may be missing in the contacts. So you may need to go back and update your contact list, but everything you've done to create the form so far can be stored and saved so that you can then easily generate it once you've filled in those missing details. And of course, once you've created these forms as templates, you can then at a future date select a different group of contacts and generate those same resulting documents using that saved template. So that saves you time. You don't have to build this up again. Once you've built it up once, you can save it and use it over and over again. So here's a bit of an example. As you're working through it, you can highlight the text and show where the various pieces are coming from the contacts group. And then you can see a preview of each recipient and make sure that the detail is being filled in correctly and that you're not missing any information. So for example, if I didn't have a mobile phone for this person, this would be showing up as blank. So you may want to go back to your contacts and try to fill that in. Or it may be that it's okay to leave it blank and you're hoping that the user will get back to you and say, no, this is my real mobile number. Please update your records for me. So the highlighting that we show here is just for your use. That does not show up on the finished documents. It is just for you to highlight those bits of information that are coming from contacts to make sure it's looking the way you want it to. Let's take a bit of a look at how this might work. So I've selected a few contacts out of my contact list that I know I have some information put in against, and I go to my mail merge up here under actions. And I have a number of options that I can select to start with. First of all, am I doing all the contacts in my current view or just the ones I've selected? And then the second thing I can do is restrict it to just those fields that were in the view. So it would just be full name, company, file as, country, region, and so on. Or I can say all fields from the contact list, whether or not they're being displayed in that view. And then whether I'm doing a new document or an existing one, if it's an existing document, it's one I've saved previously as a permanent file. So for this exercise, we'll do a new document. I could certainly save this as a permanent file that I could reference again in the future and browse to tell me what to call it and where to store it on your computer. Now you can use this to do mailing labels, envelopes, form letters, catalog. So there's some different templates to select from. We're just going to do form letters, and we're going to merge it into a brand new document. Although I could do it so that this goes straight to the printer or straight to email. But we'll start with just a new document for now. So when I click OK, it opens Word, and this is your standard Word, so I can start typing the text, thank you for your recent order, and so on. And then I can start putting in things here under the Mailings tab, things like an address block. And I can pick different formats of what this might look like in terms of the recipient's name. And it will show me a preview of what that's going to look like. Now, these are not making much difference because I don't have all of that information in my contacts. I could choose not to include company name. So you can make adjustments there, and then you can look and see what that's going to look like for each person that you've selected. And then it shows up here as address block. So of course we always want to put a greeting, and there's some standard greeting lines, and you can select different ways. You can say to or dear. Maybe I want it to be a little more informal, so I'm going to just use their first name. And again, you can see what that looks like as you preview them and click OK, and there's your greeting line. And then within the body of the email, you can start including, email address. And then you're starting to look for insert merge field. And this is, because we selected all, this is all of the fields from contacts, all the possible values. So I could include email address, I could include mobile phone, and go look for, hopefully mobile phone, there we go. I might even want to put in their Twitter account, if that's something we want to include for some reason. Now, Twitter account is not a standard field within contacts, but I could have created a user-defined field that I use to contain their Twitter account. So that might be user field 1. So I want to, if I'm going to do things like this, I have to make sure I'm storing that information in the appropriate place back in the contact list. And of course, thank you, and from Barb. So this can be as complex as you want. Certainly you can go to Word, Design, Layout, Insert, and do all the things that you normally do. You can insert pictures, you can insert links, hyperlinks to something. You could include your company logo in the header. So you can play around with all the normal Word features in addition to adding the various pieces from the contact place. So we can preview those results, and here I see John Doe and all his information. Now, there's no mobile phone and there's no Twitter account, but I do get his email address. But I can scroll through the recipients here, and I can see where the email address is there. It does show up. Now, it's sometimes not easy to tell whether the text I'm looking at is from the contacts fields or from the text itself in the document. So I can highlight the merge fields, and that makes it really easy to see, okay, all this information is coming from the contact values. And like I say, you can scroll through and see it for each individual that you have selected. And it's a good idea to review these, to, like I say, to make sure you're not missing any information. Although it may be that you want to add, if information is missing, please reach out to us to update our records. So you can make use of your contacts as sort of a simple CRM to keep this information and to generate letters, emails, whatever it is you want to do. So when you're done, you're happy with everything, you finish, and you could edit the individual documents again in Word. So it's generated them as an actual Word document now, and we could go in and adjust each one individually before we print them off or before we send them off in an email, or just save them somewhere on your computer for future reference. So if I decide I want to keep this particular document, I could have saved it as I was coming out of Contacts into MailMerge. I can also save this as a file somewhere on my computer that I could then reference. So if I decide after the fact that I do want to save, I don't have to go back and start all over again. I could have saved it manually from Word, and then the next time I do a mail merge, I just go to existing document and go find it wherever I have saved it. So that's mail merge. If that's something that you want to give yourself a try, you can try it out yourself and see if it's useful for you. Remember, we said we could also do labels and envelopes. Labels, again, will take you to Word, and it gives you a bit of a helper. So, what are you trying to do? Envelopes, mailing labels. So you can actually get a little bit of help with some of these, and it will help you set up what your physical labels look like, because each label form that you're going to feed into your printer could be a different size. So it will format the data for you depending on what type of labels you select. So you can play around with those as well if you're doing mailing labels or envelopes. So if I had generated a mail merge to email and actually sent them out, this is what would be received on the other end. So here's an example of a mail merge email that I generated based on my information in the contact list and sent to my email. So again, any formatting I had put in the Word document that generated this would be included here. I did have the option to send it as HTML or plain text, and it includes all the information that I had generated, including the customized information that I put on the document to send out. So there you go. Hopefully you'll give mail merge a try and see if that's useful for you. If you find yourself regularly sending mass emails to a large group, often using blind carbon copy because you don't want to share email addresses with the other recipients, you may want to consider using mail merge instead to generate those individual emails, so that there's no opportunity of sharing information among the recipients. And it's the type of thing where maybe you want to send out a change of address information to all of your vendors, but you don't want the vendors to see what other vendors are on the list. So this is a fast and easy way to just select all the vendors out of your contact list, generate the document that tells them about the address change, upcoming move, and keeps it isolated so that each vendor receives their own personalized email with that information. Or if you find yourself generating the same email or the same document time over time, take a look at mail merge, because it may make sense to create a template that has that information in it so that you're not recreating the wheel every time you need to do that. That's the end of this module.